Hey everyone, so it is September 9th now. All of these boards have had some time to weather. And we got some new boards, so you can definitely see the contrast between the newer boards and the slightly more weathered boards. So we got some more lumber for this one 16-footer that we didn't have enough for. And we got a bunch of 2x2s to replace this whole, the entire railing. So we got 4 16-footers, even though we only originally needed 1 for this whole section, because we found that this board has a big gnarly crack in it that me and my dad don't like. And I saw this, my dad did not. This one also has a pretty good crack. So we got 4 just to fill in this and replace whatever we needed. It's always good to overestimate. And we probably got way more 2x2s than we needed. These are all 8-footers. I think my dad got 35 of them to replace all of this and all of this. I don't know, it looks about as much as we'll need, maybe a few more extra. Oh yeah, and then we got some 10-footers, 2 10-foot 2x6 stack boards for the top over here and for this and this. And then, yeah, we got the extra 16-footers for the railing tops over here too. So today, I am going to be marking out all of the porch spindles on this whole side. So it was nice keeping this whole section because luckily it isn't rotten over here. Like the whole structure underneath it. It's a little wobbly, this whole railing, but it wasn't essential that we had to take this off because we just needed to replace the deck boards. So it is nice having this to measure off of, because I have never done this. I've never replaced a porch railing. Hold on. So, the way I see it, 5.5 on center, in between the two. So, from the inside of this one to the middle of this one, it is exactly 5.5. So that is how I will measure off to transfer it over here. And then I'll obviously take measurements of the top all the way to the bottom. Then I'll miter it at whatever angle that is. Probably just 45. And then the way I think I'm going to do it is install all of the porch spindles by themselves. And then I'll have somebody help me. I'll hold this board on one end, they'll hold it on the other end, and we'll screw in our 2 sides, and then I'll just work my way down, making sure it's level, screwing it in, making sure it's level, screwing it in. So that is how I'm going to go about all of this. But before I do any of that, I think I'm going to replace this 16-footer, if anything, because the boards angle this way as it gets further down. You can see it here. There's a pretty big gap here, but as it gets further down, it sticks out. So I'm going to need to circular saw it because I can't have it sticking out past where the porch spindles are going to go. So this one I'll just need to cut down a little bit. You can probably just run the circular saw right along the rim joist. But the next 16-footer I'm going to have to go the whole distance. So that is the first thing. Then I'll mark out the porch spindles and then start installing. Okay, so I ripped this board, first of all, with the circular saw, and installed it, and it looks nice. Clean, flush edge, for the most part. And now I marked out all of the spindles, where they're going to go. So what I did, first of all, for the first one, I left an inch gap. And then this first one, 2 of them are sistered together, so I copied that. And then I realized that each of these are on slightly different centers. So from inside to middle here, it's like 4 3/4. Then it's 5. Then it's 4 3/4 again. Then it's like almost 5. So they're slightly different. I went over to here and measured, and the majority of them land on 4 3/4 center. So that is what I copied over here, 4 3/4. And it ended with one that has like a 2.5 inch gap, which doesn't matter because that is what happened over here. And over here there's just a gap, so. And then they are 3.5 from the bottom of the rim joist to the bottom of the spindle, so I did that on each of them. So now I can start cutting them to length. I'm gonna have to miter the bottoms at 45 degrees, and then I'll just install, making sure they're level each time. And then after all of the spindles are installed, I'll have somebody come and help me to install these, and then I can do this myself. So that's the next step. So the way that I am installing these boards is determined by what way I cut the 45s. So obviously the 45s will stick out. So I am trying to keep the bows of the boards all facing the same direction. So the way that I know which side to cut the 45 at, you can see, I'll take the side that looks the most bowed, it's this side, I'll flip it over. This will be the side that sticks out. So with that being said, I will turn it towards the miter saw, and I'll angle it 45, and I'll cut it this way. And then I'll install it with the bow facing, the crown facing down is the proper terminology. So I have all of the spindles on the side of the porch attached with just one screw. Starting to come along. But for the second screw, I'm going to do things a little bit differently. Obviously, they're a little unlevel because I just attached them. Yeah, you can see. So now for the second screw, I got this little level. I'm going to put it up to each of the spindles. I already leveled, well, there. It's hard to do with one hand, but you get the point until it's level. And now I have these screws. They say they're self-countersinking, but it's ruining the bit. So I'm actually going to use a countersink for the second screw. And I'm just going to pre-drill a hole and then screw it in after it's completely level. And then after it's screwed in, I'll go back and check again. So then that'll make sure that each spindle is completely level and sturdy. And then I will have somebody help me. I'll cut and I will attach the face board to attach all of them. This is looking really nice. I am really proud of myself. This is, I'm obviously not a professional carpenter, as you can see. All of this is just what I thought needed to be done, just based off of my knowledge from what I know from the vocational school I go to and just everything I've learned over the past few years that I've been interested in this trade. Like, this entire deck was just my knowledge. I didn't look up any tutorials to do anything. It was just everything that I thought was necessary to be done. From the way that I installed all of the stringers and the floor joists, all of the deck boards and this railing. And look, I built a working deck. A really nice, sturdy, working deck. I've never done this before. I have been a part of building one house, and this year I'm going to be a part of building another. But this was just all me, all myself. And that's crazy. I'm not done yet though. I gotta install this, well actually, I actually don't know if we're going to keep this whole section that I left or tear that off and replace it too. But either way, for this side that I'm doing, I gotta install this top piece here. And after that, if I decide to replace the other side too after I do that, we're just gonna, anything that'll be stained, we're gonna let it weather for a little bit. And then all of what was white, we're probably just gonna paint white sooner or later here, and I'll show you that. But the way that I installed this board, it's a big old 16-footer. I needed the help of my brother. It was actually really easy. I'm glad that it went as well as it did. I had him hold it on this side until it was flush here with this last 2x2. And I screwed it in on this side. And then I traded places with him, screwed it in on there. And then I picked a few places in the middle, right here and right here, because it was a little warped, so I had to raise it up so it was level. And now it's level. So now I'm just going to screw in every single one and keep lifting it up just to make sure that it stays perfectly level. And then that's it. So before I install this last top piece over here, I want to show you what I did to tie in the board running this way and this board running this way. So I'm just taking these really long screws. I already did one here. I'm going from the spindle, and it's just going to go all the way through the spindle, through this board, and through this board. It'll add a lot of support. I already did the top one. It's very sturdy. It wasn't like this when I tore it off. I think they just like toenailed them together, which is also okay, but I would prefer doing it this way, and I think this will be a lot sturdier.